If you're over the age of 20 or been involved with the racing game community in any way, then you surely have heard of Carmageddon. If you didn't, then let me introduce it to you. This game was part of many controversies related to violence in games back in the 90s, leading it to be censored in many countries. The game revolved around racing, smashing opponents, running over people, and you getting rewarded by doing those things. Despite the scandals, the game was fairly popular among players, spawning a couple sequels, but in the 2000s, the franchise fell into what the wiki calls it, the big sleep, waking up from the slumber in 2011 with the announcement of Carmageddon Reincarnation, which turned into Max Damage in 2016. So, what the hell happened here for the franchise to be dormant for so much time? Well, a lot was going on behind the scenes, but basically, they were trying to kickstart a revival many different times. And here is where I come into play, to tell you the bizarre story behind the many times Carmageddon wanted to come back to life, but simply couldn't. Carmageddon TV. This one was apparently being worked on around 2003 by the British development team Visual Science. The story of the game had an interesting twist to it, bringing something fresh, set in the not-so-distant future and as a TV show, hence the name of the game itself. The character roster would have also been completely new, as there is no mention of any of the classic drivers from previous games. Something interesting I had to point out is that you could play as Max Damage's son, John Damage, among many new additions. As we can see in these concept arts and renders, Carmageddon TV still had the edge and the wacky violence fans of the franchise would enjoy. And it's noticeable when you read the pitch of the game itself, and I quote, "Visual Science updates the violent granddaddy of video games with Carmageddon TV for the console market. Carmageddon TV will feature more outrageous ways to kill innocent bystanders than the world has ever seen, and a wicked sense of humor that will slice its way through the red noise of the current glut of mindlessly violent video games, focusing vehicular combat and the mowing down of pedestrians into tightly designed events, all in the service of eliminating opponents and clearing an area of human life. The game is as unapologetically satirical and critical as it is violent. If it's wrong, we probably think it's right for obliteration on Carmageddon TV, and if it's right, we see nothing wrong in destroying that too." End of quote. This sounds really intriguing, to be honest. A thing I find funny is that there was no information about this game for a long time, until we got a little glimpse of gameplay and all those concepts I showed you. But let's take a look at the gameplay. You can see a wireframe view of one of the maps from the game, and a peek, just a tiny preview of what Carmageddon TV looked like. The reason for the cancellation of this game is up for speculation, but apparently, there was a fallout between Visual Science and SCI, the longtime publishers of Carmageddon. A shame, honestly, but this wasn't going to be the last time this would happen. Carmageddon Forever. In 2007, a smaller scale Carmageddon game for the PSP was in the works. There's barely any information about this one, other than the fact that it was developed by A.AB. What? Who the fuck are they? Oh! They apparently also made Richard Burns Rally. Shit. Okay. Oh, the other funny thing is that there were a couple pieces of concept art floating around on the internet. There's not even gameplay footage for this game. Just a couple screenshots of what the game would have looked like. And the last piece of info about this game should be taken with a grain of salt though. According to a comment left on a Reddit post by an alleged developer, the game was cancelled because the sales of the PSP went down at the time. Definitely, Carmageddon Forever is the most mysterious cancelled project out of the bunch, just by the lack of info on it. Before we move on to the last cancelled Carmageddon game, I want to let you know that I have a Patreon where you can support the channel and you get some good shit in return, like your name with a custom icon at the end of every video, early access to some of my episodes, behind the scenes footage, scrap videos, and so much more. Anyways, let's finish this. Carmageddon, Crude Awakening. Apparently, this game was going to go in two different directions, but the developers couldn't decide which would work better. Some of the builds showed a futuristic setting which was very underdeveloped, as you can see, and they even had a boss fight featuring a huge bulldozer. Yeah, it looks really unfinished, but here's some concept art of the setting and the environment in its full potential glory. It would have been cool to see this take on a Carmageddon game since they were trying something new for once. You can also see some of the cars which have this classy, retro-futuristic look, and here we have the characters. Some of them look really good and have an appealing design, and some of them look absolutely fucking disgusting. But that is definitely the Carmageddon trademark. Then, we have the other vision they were going for. In this build, you can notice a big difference in both the environment and the overall aesthetic of the game. This one is more urban, grounded, and it looks like it was based off of Full Auto 2. The gameplay looks fairly simple. There's a lack of AA opponents, and all you can do in this build is simply pick weapons up and kill people, whether it is by impaling them, electrifying them, or simply tossing them in the air like a turd off of a shovel. All of this accompanied by some cutesy, peaceful music going on in the background. Oh yeah, and there's environmental destruction too. Not to a large scale obviously, but it's a nice detail. So, the question you're probably asking yourself is, why did they cancel another one of these again? Surprise, surprise. Layoffs. 200 in total. Oh yeah, and they canceled more than a dozen other games in the process. And this one too. The same old story. Well, not everything is bad. Carmageddon got another entry in 2016 and it did fine. It was a fun game, although the handling was awful. And shit, after almost 10 years, we will get a new one soon, by the graceful hands of the Redout developers. But yeah, that was the story behind the cancel games from the darkest ages of the franchise. Let me know your thoughts down below. I love seeing discussion in the comments as long as it's civilized. I want to thank Anders for giving me the idea for this video back in 2023, and I want to give a shout out to my Patreons for their patience. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and I'll see you next time.